Hi, welcome back to me talking about my version of the Marauders in podcast form with Emma. If you're wondering if we record this on the same day as we did the last one because we are in the same clothes, same hairstyle, no, because this time Emma has a blanket.
Obviously.
So, yeah, it can't be the same time. So yeah, don't get confused by that. So yeah, we were just chatting it up, having a good time. I don't remember. Oh yeah, so the thing that prompted this conversation that we had was, do we have any nicknames for each other or anything like that? And I don't know if they count as nicknames because we don't
use them.
We would never call each other this, but just for about
in our phones.
Yeah. For a while, now it's not, but just Emma's name was just Brayden in my phone. I think the only reason for it, I was making a TikTok where I wanted it to look like a guy was texting me, but obviously I don't have any guys that would just do that, so I was like, Emma, I'm going to change your contact name to be Brayden so it looks like a guy. And then I just never changed it back, ever. So yeah, for literal years, it was just Brayden.
And your name in my phone is just Scarecrow Jones.
Yeah, do you have a reason for that?
I think you just texted me one day, just like Scarecrow Jones, and just had no other context.
Why would I send that to you?
I don't know.
My gosh. We have some weird text conversations, not gonna lie.
Yeah. I'll read the conversation.
Oh gosh.
Scarecrow Jones. I said, continue? Nah, that's it.
Oh my word. Why?
So that was that.
And then from then on I was simply Scarecrow Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you were saying that the profile picture, I don't have any profile pictures for anybody in my phone, I just don't. But Emma does.
Yeah.
And,
it's the only picture I think I have of you is when we were stuck in an elevator.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah, so I'll give a brief rundown of the story. My mom, I guess now used to run a children's choir, and that me and Emma were both a part of. And then, so we would go and sing at hospitals sometimes, for the children or whatever. We did it around Christmas caroling, and yeah, it was very sweet. Loved doing it, 10 out of 10 experience every time, except for this one time, because they have these big industrial hospital elevators that are meant for carrying multiple stretchers and stuff like that. And so they could pack 20 of us into an elevator to get us up to the top floor where we were supposed to be singing. Except then it got stuck, and now there were 20 kids in an elevator.
And there was the nurse that was taking us around, and then just
oh my gosh, yes, and then
guy.
Literally, it was I felt so bad for this man. This is what happened. So the nurse is taking us up, and then we're going up to the 5th floor or something, and then on the 2nd floor, this random doctor just comes in, and the doors open, and the nurse is like, "Are you sure you want to get in with us? It might be a little crowded." He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And then he gets in, and then we got stuck for 40 minutes. It was so stressful, and I already had an irrational fear of being stuck in elevators. Literally worst day of my life. Hated it. But the fun fact was that half of the choir was in the other elevator.
And they were fine.
Nothing even happened to them. And so it's half of us went through this traumatic experience and the other half were just chilling.
The other half was just waiting and just they
were just chilling for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was yeah, it was, and then we all took the stairs going back down. Yeah, alright, so that was a fun little story, but that nobody wanted to hear. But I wanted to tell, and that's all that matters. Somebody said, is cereal a soup?
If I asked someone, hey, could you grab me a bowl of soup? And they brought me back Cheerios, I would say this isn't what I asked for.
Yeah. Yeah, but think, what is the difference between cereal and soup?
If you wanted a bowl of soup and I gave you Cheerios, would you just be yeah, okay, I'll eat this soup now?
No, like, if you, like, try and describe what cereal is and make it not just be soup, because it's just a liquid with some solids in it. And it's like, you know, some...
Except it's, like, very specific.
Okay,
it's
fine.
like, you pour, like, milk into it, and it's usually, like, considered a breakfast food. Where I don't get, like, a bowl of tomatoes and just pour, like, milk in it and say, like, that's it.
Alright. So Emma's a firm no on this one, and I'm a solid I don't know, and why is this a question that's being asked? But kind of going along with that, I think what's going to be our last question here is, if you were a breakfast food, what breakfast food would you be?
I'm gonna go with frosted mini wheats.
Okay. Those are pretty good. I haven't had those in a while. I would have to say, my go-to breakfast
it's what would you be?
Okay, but like this is what I would be, because it is my go-to breakfast, is the Eggo waffles that like you just pop in the toaster, because I'm not putting actual effort into this. But then also like some fruit and stuff. Like that's who I would be as a breakfast. Like not that much effort, but like a little effort. Like that's me, I feel like. So.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Now that we've got that cleared up, shall we jump into it?
No.
Why do you come? Episode 6, Scene 1, the planning of the prank. So, if you remember last episode, that we definitely didn't just record just now, they were planning to do a weather prank where they just make different weather all over the frickin' school.
Because that's so much easier.
It's much easier than making water slides, we promise. We promise, guys.
We've done this.
We figured it out.
We've experimented.
Yes. But the date for them to do it just practically falls in their lap. They have a transfiguration test, a timed exam in history of magic, and a practical for potions all on the same day. And it's a Thursday, and it's 3 days from now, and they're like, guys, we better get out of this day. It just sounds like a terrible day. And so they work hard. But they can accomplish this. So before breakfast, after he works out, James after he does his morning run, James goes to the library and picks up Hogwarts history. Of course he does. To try and figure out how they make the sky thing in like the Great Hall work. Like to have it reflect the weather, because then they can manipulate that and like make it actually be the weather and everything like that. Anyway, they're trying to figure that out. Peter is also really good at like finding random pieces of information, so he joins James in. They're not paying attention in their classes, and instead they're going through these books that they like transfigured to not look like their books.
They could have just been studying for those tests.
Listen, no, this is much better than that. They're not gonna do it, but yeah, they're bringing in like, they make it look like they're actual books, but in reality they're like researching this and everything like that. So, and when this ends up happening, Remus and Sirius like pick up the slack, and they end up doing Peter and James's actual work and everything like that. Like this is the system that they have.
That's why they have that spell.
Yeah. So they do this like a lot, and like it's actually really easy when Sirius actually tries, because he never actually tries with all of his work, but like when he's doing it for this, he's like, yeah, let's do it, and he like knocks it out of the park. But it would be a heck of a lot easier if Eloise wasn't like there hanging out with Sirius all the time now, and Remus is like, I really am not enjoying this, first of all, because I don't like what this is making me feel, and second of all,
like she's gonna like ruin the prank.
Yeah, and second of all, she's like really distracting Sirius from like
why
keeping
are
up with the work.
Like, 2 essays or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, so that first night of like them preparing for it, he talks to Sirius and he's like, dude, like what the heck, you can't just ditch us for a girl, that's against the bro code, what do you mean? And Sirius is like, okay, I'm sorry, like I'll keep up doing the work and everything like that. And he does, but he still brings Eloise along, and he's like, so this isn't what I wanted, but like it's fine. Yeah. So then scene 2, so it's day 2 of planning, and Remus is getting a little bit tired, but like he's going through it. So then he walks into arithmancy, and he's like, okay, I'm glad that I'm walking in here, and I only know that only I have to do work for this class and everything. But yeah, so he walks in, he's like, I'm ready for just like a quiet class. And instead of sitting down next to Lily and getting silence, though, the one day that he does, that he needs silence from Lily, he gets a whole rant. He gets a whole rant from Lily, because she's like, I know why you did what you did, and I don't like it. You wanted to get me on your side, right? That's why you did the thing, right? It's not gonna work. I know how you treated Snape the other day, and I'm not happy about it. I don't like how you've ever been treating Snape. Giving me your essay isn't gonna make up for that. Why did you even do it anyway? I bet it was Potter's idea, wasn't it? He's obsessed with me, and you're like trying to egg him on, aren't you? I've made it very clear I'm not interested in him. I can't believe like that you would even do this. I thought you were nice. And he's like, Lily. He's like, I literally just sat down. Can you like calm down for a second? Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, Lily's not thrilled. But he's like, hold up, Lily. He's like, I did not give you that essay because of James. What? He's like, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. He doesn't know that you're even in class with me. And she's like, how am I supposed to believe that? And he's like, you said it yourself, he's obsessed with you. If he knew that I had a class with you and that I was like sitting next to you, you think he wouldn't just like constantly be disrupting this class? Like he hasn't done that. He hasn't like come to see me after class. Like he clearly doesn't know that you're here. And she's like, okay, well, she's like, I still think your friends are like a-holes. And he's like, I didn't say they weren't. He's still a little bit angsty about Sirius at this moment in time.
He was literally glad to come here because his friends weren't.
I know. But then it's like quiet for a while, and then like they're doing their work and everything like that. And then Lily's like, okay, then why did you actually give me the essay? And he's like, Lily, you've never forgotten an assignment ever in your life. You looked like you were you looked like you were on the verge of tears. I felt bad for you. Plus, I can't imagine that it must be fun having Snape as a best friend. So she's like, I just was trying to be nice. And she's like, he's not terrible. And he's like, okay, maybe he's not terrible, but all I see is him being like an arrogant, like blood purist type person. But then again, all you see is my friends being jerks, so let's just agree to disagree about our friendships, shall we? And they don't talk for the rest of class. But Lily's like, so this did not go how I expected it to go. She's like, he did make some excellent points. And yeah, that's kind of the start of their actual little friendship, and I love it.
I'm loving how their friendship started with like, I'm mad you helped me.
Well, isn't that exactly how it would always go down? Like, let's be real here. Okay, so the next scene. They're in the common room. Peter and James have almost like figured out everything. But other people are starting to notice them working, and they're like, okay, this always happens, and then something big goes down, so like they're trying to figure it out.
Sirius is doing actual work?
They're like, things might be getting crazy, I don't know. But then none other than Julie Carp comes and sits down at their table and asks them like what they've been up to. So, to remind you a little bit, Julie's like real good friends with Lily. So she hasn't really been ever interested in what the Marauders are doing. So this is like kind of a little interesting. But she ends up like actually being pretty curious about it. So she's like, what have you guys been doing? And like Peter just tells her, he's like, well, frankly, we're about to like pull the biggest prank in the history of the world. And she's like, you say that every single time. But she's actually really curious in how they like ended up making it work. And so James and Peter like start giving her the details and everything, and she even offers to help. But then Remus is like, no girls. No girls here. This is the bros. I don't know why I made Remus like the most interested in preserving just them, but it fits in my mind, so that's that. But Julie's like, fine. But then Sirius is like, okay, but like you seriously like can't tell Lily about this because she's literally gonna lose her mind. And Julie's like, okay, she's like not that bad, but you're definitely right. She's been in a mood. She's like really been hating all of you, and Remus is like, and she's like, I think it's because Snape has started like ditching her more. And Sirius is like, why would that make anyone more upset? I don't understand that. And she's like, I don't know. She's like, and Julie's words are, I don't know. She's just always had a thing for him. And James is like, a thing? And she's like, not that kind of thing. She's like, not a crush. They've just always been really good friends no matter what. So she's like become pretty blind to whatever he does. Mm-hmm. And the Marauders are like, this is making sense. And Remus is like, oh, what? And so James is like, what do you think would happen, hypothetically, if I just, like, asked her out? And Julia's like, I think she would punch you in the face, hypothetically.
Hypothetically, of course.
Yeah. So they kind of start, you know, talking more, which is kind of a fun little funky situation.
Julie seems nice.
Yeah, Julie's pretty chill. I really like Julie. At this moment in time. I need to stop foreshadowing things and just letting things go with the flow. Okay, so this is now scene 4. It's the 3rd day, the day before they do this. And they're just in absolute crunch time. They are practicing the spells they figured out. They're like doing it in the Gryffindor common room, like not obviously when everybody's there and everything like that, but people like they know that it's going to be them. And they're planning on using the map to get around to organize the heist, but like they still, those tracking spells that they had earlier, they are working really well. But they're still only on them, so they're like, okay, so like we have to put them on the teachers. So then this whole next day they're going around like sneakily putting tracking spells on all of the teachers. Mm-hmm. So they're doing that and everything like that, and Remus is helping, but they're trying to not get him in trouble as much, so they like give him like an alibi and everything like that, and they're like I think maybe Julie helps out with this part, and she's like, yeah, he was totally just chilling over here, like babysitting first years or something, I don't know. But yeah, so they're, at the end of the day, they're like, okay, we're ready, let's do it. And so then the next part is the heist day.
The heist?
The heist. That's what I call it. But everything's going perfectly. By 10 a.m., all of the classes have been canceled for the day because every floor of the castle is a different extreme weather climate. There's tornadoes and heavy rain, there's earthquakes, there's, I don't know, what's other things?
Snow?
Yeah, there's snow, there's like scorching heat, there's everything. And the more that the teachers try to control the weather,
it just gets worse.
Yeah, it just gets worse and worse and worse. This is like their signature move, is like they always put in things that are like, okay, if you try and clean it up this way, it's gonna make it worse and stuff like that. So yeah, it's exactly what they want. It takes a full 24 hours to like completely sort it out. By the end of which Peter, James, and Sirius have all been given 3 weeks of detention, and Sirius and James are on probation for the Gryffindor team, despite there being absolutely no concrete evidence that it was actually them that did this. Like, they just know. The professors are like, guys, like, who else is gonna do this? And they're like, fair enough, so they just take the detention.
But Julie pulled through.
Yes, Julie pulled through. Remus's alibi worked, though, even though McGonagall is like, I know you did something with it,
and
too.
Julie's
like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So that's a fun little thing. But anyway, that night, everybody's still, like, cleaning up the stuff and everything like that. Also, like, oh wait, no, never mind. Yeah, so, like, prefects are also involved in, like, helping clean up this mess. And so Lily's like, okay, and Lily and Remus get assigned to do it together. And she's like, okay, so you were, like, definitely involved in this, right? And he's like, why would I ever admit that to you? He's like, not
like,
denying
you're a prefect.
He's like, not denying it, but, like, why would I ever tell you that? And then she's, like, quiet for a, she's like, yeah, whatever. And then he's like, yeah, but I totally was, but, like, what are you gonna do about it? And she's like, you're supposed to be a prefect. And he's like, no, I'm not. Kingsley was supposed to be the prefect. We all know that I was not chosen for this.
I don't want this. Is just like getting his best education.
I know. Kingsley is living it up at this moment in time. He's so grateful that he made the right decision. Let's be honest here. He was like, listen, what is important is me having my sanity.
He did survive in the long run.
Yes, he did. Oh, like, literally survived. He goes, and frankly, Lily, what actual harm did this prank cause? And she's like, there's tornadoes on the 5th floor.
And he's like,
what do you mean?
It's fine.
He's like, and they can all be cleared up as soon as they ask James how to do it, but they just don't want to. He's like, all that we happened is that we missed a day of school. What's really the harm in that? And she's like, she doesn't say anything. Then he's like, Lily, I do my job, I do my rounds, I help the younger kids. I'm not trying to make your life harder here. I'm just not going to ever be a perfect prefect, you know?
A perfect
prefect. Say that 10 times fast. Anyway. So yeah, so there's that little scene. They don't talk much after that. But yeah. So then, the next scene, so this all happened on a Thursday, so now it's Thursday night at 10 p.m. And you know what that means. Lily and Snape having a chat. But they're both just like so fed up with the past day and everything like that. And they're just ranting about the prank and everything that happened. And Lily's like, you would not believe how terrified all these first years were and everything like that. She's like, oh my gosh, not having a good time. But then Lily finally starts to talk to Snape frankly. And she's like, so you've been hanging out with a lot of people that really seem to hate me in general. And she's like,
not a fan of that.
Not the biggest fan of that. And he's like, no, they're not like that. I mean, they joke about it a lot, yeah, but like that's not the same thing. It's just a joke. Like, you gotta stop being so sensitive. And she's like, she's like, okay, but here's the thing. The Marauders also think they're joking. Because like now she's thinking about like everything that Remus said.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, and he's like, yeah, but that's definitely different. And she's like, so I'm less sure about that at this moment in time. But anyway, what this little chat means is that Lily and Snape agree that, like, Lily's gonna try and hang out with Snape's friends at some point in time. I'm sure that that's gonna be great. I'm sure that nothing's gonna happen there. But anyway.
I'm sure Snape's fans are Snape's friends.
Not Snape's fans! If you're a Snape stan, here it is.
This is for you. I'm sure they're just so...
I'm sure they're so excited to hang out with her.
Yeah.
For sure. I think it's going to be great. I don't think there's going to be any issues. But we'll save that for another day. So, the last scene. It's arithmancy again. Lily walks in, sits down. Remus is there. It's quiet for a little bit. And then Lily's like, thank you. And he's like, what? Remus is like, what did you just say? She's like, I'm not saying it again. But yeah, for the essay. I never thanked you.
He's like, not for the weather.
He's like, you didn't like the weather, is that what I'm hearing? Anyway. She's like, you didn't have to do it, and it was nice. And he's like, you're welcome. And he's like, okay, but like, you know what would be better than a thank you? She's like, she's just scared. She doesn't want to know. She's like, I'm not doing anything. He's like, can we please just like do our rounds together, please? Like, I hate walking around just alone. It doesn't make any sense. And like, please, Lily. And she's like, sure. So, now we're getting somewhere. And yeah, that's the end of this episode. Yeah, I like
that one. I love some extreme weather.
We love extreme weather climates. I'm picturing, like, I don't know, just McGonagall just in her full robes in like 100-degree weather, just not having a good time. But I think my favorite part is just everybody knowing that they could probably solve this very quickly if they like asked James how to do it, but none of them wanting to do it because they're like, we can figure this out, guys. Like,
I also love the idea that none of the other Marauders.
Hi there, just wanted to let you know that it was at this moment when me and Emma realized that I had not hit record on the microphones and that we would have to use the camera audio again. So just enjoy that.
There's no...
to cry. Oh my gosh. I'm so mad. Are you kidding me? I know I hit record though. I'm so upset. Oh my gosh. Okay, what do we want to do? Well, that was disappointing. So me and Emma definitely just realized that we did not record audio for that. And I feel like it's too good to re-record. That was too authentic, you know? I don't want to redo it. So we're gonna keep it that way. But anyway, hope that the audio isn't absolutely horrendous. And then, second of all, yeah, thank you for watching. Oh, big thanks to Himalaya Black on TikTok for doing our art. We always love them. They're fantastic. And yeah, we will see you all. Not see you. We'll be here at some point.
At some point.
I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Bye!